All right, let us begin.
Are you riding? Say you never ever leave from beside me. 'Cause I want you, and I need you, and I'm down for you.
Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well. Thank you so much for stopping by. For those who don't know me, my name is Elena, and for those who are returning, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. As you guys can see from the title down below, I'm going to be discussing a topic that I feel is not, we don't talk about it enough. I'm going to be talking about what it's like to be the fatter sister, to be the ugly sister, and all that good stuff. I feel like it's already bad enough that we're constantly comparing ourselves to other people, but it gets even worse than the fact that you're like comparing yourself to your sibling who kind of looks like you, but then you also see like different traits, different characteristics, and you're like, why am I not like them? We as people, we're constantly comparing ourselves all the time to our peers. But then, I was constantly comparing myself to my sisters. I want to talk about what it was like to be the ugly one, the fat sister, out of my siblings, and share with you guys my experience. Hopefully you guys can relate, and let us start with the video. I'm gonna start off with my childhood, where it really began. As a kid, I had so many peers, so many family members telling me, the way I looked and stuff like that. They were always criticizing and always commenting on the way I looked and the way I presented myself. I am biracial, where my mom is Filipina and my dad is Irish Canadian. So when my parents had kids, their kids looked different because they were biracial. They came from different cultures, so they had different features and stuff like that. My sisters, I have two older sisters, Anne and Abby. I love them with all my heart. Before I get started, I want to let you guys know, love you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. So anyways, I look different from my sisters. Two of my sisters, older than me, they came out super petite, they're smaller than me, and then when I came out, I was chubby. And that completely followed me from my childhood to high school days to almost my early 20s. It just these comments kept rolling and rolling and rolling throughout the years. The comments would consist of, oh, Elena, why are you so fat compared to your sisters? Oh, why does Elena put on so much weight compared to her sisters? Why do we gotta buy a bigger size because Anne and Abby can fit it into a smaller size? Why can't Elena? And those comments just kept manifesting and manifesting and growing and growing and growing, and they just never seemed to stop. I was especially in elementary school, I was scared to tell other people that my sister was my sister, because then they'd look at me different. They'd be like, oh, you're Abby's sister. Oh, you're Anne's sister. Really? And I would just feel so garbage about myself because people would constantly compare me because, I was the fatter sister. I wasn't the cute sister who was looked like them. And then in high school, I felt like this was my lowest point of my self-esteem was high school. High school was really garbage for me, where I was honestly constantly comparing myself to my siblings, and they started becoming my rivals. They started being my competition. My dad would say stuff like this. This is what was really, really toxic and really garbage. My dad would say stuff like, Elena, if you lost weight, you actually had a boyfriend like your sisters. That was so garbage, the fact that he would say that. My dad had a lot of mental health issues. Didn't realize how bad it was until I got older. And also he was constantly comparing himself to his siblings, where, who had the bigger house, who had the more money. I don't want to be like that. That's not the way to live. I put up this huge barrier between me and my sisters where I felt like we were not close. I didn't want to be close with them because I wanted to win all the time. That was my mindset at this point. Because people constantly kept putting in my head, why are you not like your sisters? And I just felt you know what? Why am I not like my sisters? I want to be them, at this point. I want to basically be better than them at this point in my life. So in high school, I, was a huge bitch. Let's just be real here. I was a huge bitch in high school. This is where it gets even worse. Any person, it wasn't even just my sisters who were now my competition. It was everybody who was my competition, where it got to a point where any person who was prettier than me was now my threat, was now my competition. I'm just gonna be real here with you guys. If a woman, this is just a tip for life in general. Any woman who's a bitch to you, hands down thinks you are a threat. You're gonna bring a threat to their territory, threat to their man, bring a threat to, their circle of friends. That's the reason why they're a bitch. And I was a huge representation of that. I didn't want to share anything with my sisters, anything that involved them. I didn't want anything to do with them. If they dressed a certain way, I wanted to dress differently because I wanted to be better. If I had a certain friend or certain friends at all, I didn't want to share them with them because I thought that my friends would like them better than me, and then that would just completely devastate the hell out of me. This is what my mentality was going through a lot in my high school days, almost to my 20s, and I didn't want to bring home any friends. I didn't want to bring home nobody because I didn't want my sisters to know them, because I genuinely believed that they are going to be liked more than me. It wasn't until like, you know, I started working on myself, started thinking clearly in my head that like, it wasn't my sister's fault that they had all these amazing characteristics about them. That's what made them them. And it was just my own like mentality, my own toxic behaviors that like I started to realize why people like my siblings. My siblings are super cool. They're really friendly, very nice. They just have like such a great ambiance about them. And who the hell wouldn't want to be around my siblings? My siblings are amazing. I was just like so stuck in my toxic behaviors, my own toxic thoughts that like, you know what? Everyone's gonna like my siblings more than me. But then I started to think like, when I started working on myself, started eating clean, you know, started working out, it really humbled me out as a person. Because then I started to realize how hard and how much work and how much time it takes to actually love yourself and to work on yourself and, you know what, just to become a better person. My sisters are complete inspirations to me, you know, like they're just amazing women. You know, they work hard, they hustle, and I now know why people wanted to be around them. My father, unfortunately, just brought it in like the worst way of motivation to become a better person. Because you're not supposed to compare your children. When you compare your children, they start to think like, oh, why am I not as loved as that other sibling? Just because I'm not like them means that I'm not gonna bring something to the table. That's what I was like, why the hell am I not like my sisters? Why don't I look like them? And then I also like started to realize we have different body types. My sisters have a huge fast metabolism, which I don't have, which you know what, I gotta work with. And they also have, you know, they gain muscle weight way faster than I do. And they don't like gain weight at all, which good for them. But you know what, like I also had to work on myself, you know, like I had to work with what I have, and you know, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Let's just be real. Like, you know, my sisters also had like mental stuff going on in their head too, where like it was just like a very vicious cycle where like one person was mentally not stable, the other person was not mentally stable, and we just kept butting heads at this point where it's like, I'm not gonna like you, you're not gonna like me, I'm not gonna like you, you're not gonna like me. And it's just like so sad because all those years I wasted of not liking them, not growing with them, not loving them, it just like, it sucks. But you know what? Love them now. And it took me years to bring down this guard with everyone around me that like, it got to a point where it's like, I'm now gonna bring my friends to my siblings' events and stuff like that because you know what? I want them to meet my siblings. They're super great. They're great people. I love them so much. I want to be around good people. I want to be around people who inspire me, who love me, who want to see me grow. And that is my sisters. My sisters are just like always my number one hype man. They're my best friends. You know, my mom gave me 2 best friends even before I was even thought of, even before I was alive. I was already guaranteed 2 best friends, and like I just shot them down because I thought they were my competition growing up as a kid. Like anything that like I want to do in life, my sisters are always there behind my back. You know, like, Elena, you got this. Anything I want to do. It's just amazing to have siblings who want to see you grow. And that's what we should be doing, you know, like siblings, sisters, brothers, sisters, you know, anything like that. You should just want to see them grow as people and want the best for them. Don't be like, you know, you can't do this because I can't do that. That's not right. That's like also in society, you know, like just because one person can't do this means that you can't do it, you know, like that's not fair. You're not letting that person grow. It wasn't until like later on that like we started communicating and stuff like that, you know, like I felt this way about you. Did you ever feel this way about me? And like I started to realize my sisters also felt insecure with me as well. Like I brought some things to the table that they felt insecure with as well. I feel like when you start communicating all those good things, you know, like things that you're insecure about, and you just talk them out and like you communicate with people and find out the reason why they feel this way, then that's when, you know, the barriers, the guards start to drop down, because then you start to realize, you know, like people are just people, they're humans. We all have our insecurities. We are human. Insecurities are what make us grow as people. They are flaws that you can work on to improve yourself, and that's the reason why they're there, because you constantly have to keep upping yourself, you know, upping your game, realizing that your own shitty mistakes, your own shitty behaviors, you gotta keep, you know, reinventing yourself. That's my issue that I had with my siblings. Again, it wasn't until like I started humbling myself out with working out and figuring out what was going on in my head that it wasn't their fault that they were, you know, the better sibling. It was just all in my head that like they were the better sibling just because they looked a certain way, because society told me that you have to be as skinny, you have to be like as pretty as your sisters because, you know, they're them. It just sucks because when you're siblings, you have someone who looks so much like you that they think that like, oh, that's the better copy, or like, you know, like that's the better success story and stuff like that. So you feel like as a person that like just because they have the same DNA, like, oh, I have to be like them as well. Nah, you don't gotta be anything like your sibling. If you don't want to be like your sibling, don't be like your sibling. Let's just be real here. If you want to be like an artsy person and your sister's like a medical person, be that artsy person. You are your own person. You are your individual person. Yeah, we got the same DNA and stuff like that, but you know what, at the same time, we individuals, you know, like that's what makes us siblings. That's what makes us the cool siblings. So I just want to let you guys know that like it took me years and years and years. It took me almost 23 years to realize that my sisters are not threats. It doesn't happen overnight where you're gonna realize that you're gonna wake up one day and be like, hey, that person ain't my threat, she ain't my threat, he ain't my threat. It takes a while for you to realize that you bring so much to the table and to work on yourself and to basically love yourself wholeheartedly, to realize that you bring so much to people and that you shouldn't feel insecure about yourself because you have a sibling who's cool as hell. You should be happy that that sibling is cool as hell. You should be like, yo, that's my sister, she cool as hell, you know? Like, I'm so proud that she's my sister. So again, if you have a sibling who's super cool, don't feel insecure, you know, like talk those things out. If you feel like you are rivals and stuff like that, if you feel like they're your competition, they are not your competition. It's just these awful people who told you these things that like, oh, you're not as good as your sibling. You know, maybe that person is also very insecure as well. So don't listen to people, like honestly, just at this point in time, just do you, love you, and like work hard for the things that you want in life. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. I hope you mend things with your siblings like I did. Again, took me years to figure out the reasons why I felt the way I felt. So work on yourself, love you, love your siblings, see them grow. They want to see you grow at the same time. And I hope you guys enjoy this video. Remember to follow me on all my social media if you guys ever want to chat and stuff like that about your experiences with your siblings. So yeah, we can definitely chit chat about that all the time. I'm always game for that. So I hope you guys have an amazing day. Love you guys. Bye.